YouTube, we are here with the new pack day. Are you ready? And we're going to start this off with the new alt art Kisa Kill in Leela in the top freaking 16. I could not believe it. This is going to be crazy. So by watching as long as you can, that greatly supports the video, even if you have us on in the background. We also have Melodious. We have the Ultimate Flame Swordsman in today's event. Are you ready? Hajime.
There can only be one winner, and you're looking at it. Let's go.
Top 16, Live Twin versus Labyrinth. We're going to set up the big welcome Labyrinth from the deck, then pass our turn. What the heck? We're not... Wait. That was us passing. Huh? We had no play. This is the wrong Kisa Kill. It's not the one that summons from the deck. So we hard bricked. We got Ogre and Impermanence. That's it. All right. Ariana searching our deck for the Labyrinth. Torby poke for 1600. We're going to be setting up the back row within main phase 2, but first we're going to be whipping out a lovely Labyrinth. Return back to Ariana. Trigger the lovely to pop a card from the hand. Chainlink block the Ghost Ogre from being able to pop the lovely Labyrinth because a monster left the field by a trap effect. Thus the Chandelier adds from the grave back to the hand. Goodbye to the Ogre, and oh, that's got to feel so good. The opponent being able to see what they were able to pop. Wait, we impermed after? I'm a bit, what? Lovely Chandelier, destroyed Ogre, and then we impermed? Why did we let them pop a card from our hand? All right, we have big welcome set up in main phase 2. We cannot use the lovely to recycle a card from the graveyard. Off the top of the deck, we have Sprites. Okay, that's something. As we summon from the deck with a big welcome to trigger the lovely to then trigger the triple tactics talent. We're making it a high priority to get the Kisa Kill Frost off of the field before any Sprite cards may wanting to be special summoned. Or the Leela Frost, it's not the Frost, it's the Leela something that special summons alongside the Kisa Kill here. Now with no body on the field, let's draw 2. Normal summon already used up. What? Abominable Unchained Soul in our Live Twin deck alongside our Sprite Smashers. This is quite interesting. Now, obviously, we're hard losing game number 1, so hopefully we can pick ourselves back up within game 2 and maybe not brick on our very big opening hand. What the heck, mate? We got to draw the right Kisa Kill, the right Leela. The chances of bricking aren't... I mean, you have so many one-card combos. You have like Live Twin Home. I don't know how many you play that, but you can play up to 3. You have the Live Twin that searches the Live Twin, so that's 6. Then you play 3 of the Live Twin, and then I think you maybe play 1 of the other. You maybe have about 10 one-card starters to not brick in your opening hand. Let's find out in game number 2. What is this? The Sunny Snitch, as I was talking about, a one-card starter play. Let's go. Much better than game 1 as we snitch a Leela into our hand. Leela summon Kisa Kill from the deck here as we now link it up into a Gigantic Sprite. That's not a link. What the? Gigantic Sprite, detach summon a blue from the deck. Blue search for the Jet. Jet special summon searching for a Sprite starter as we now make a Sprite Elf. Elf activate, reborn from the grave, Kisa Kill Frost, and now, are you ready for the new animation? Boom! Kisa Kill Evil Twin is here. Activate Reborn Leela as we have another animation. Are you ready? Are you ready? Bam! Evil Twin Leela. Special summon from the grave. Evil Twin Kisa Kill. Kisa Kill is going to be drawing a card here, grabbing our Sprite Red as we now make an Unchained Soul, Lord of Yama. I got to play this deck. Oh my goodness. Sprite Starter has been newly unlimited even. Special summon the Carrot for the Shokan into Super Producer. Are you going to pop the Sunny Snitch to trigger the Yama to reborn from the grave? So what do we have here? We have the ability to reborn the Kisa Kill, which could reborn the Leela to pop a card on the field. We have the Carrot, which could negate a spell. We could use the effect of the Elf to reborn the Red to negate a monster effect. We have the Smasher to banish a card in the field. We have Ogre to pop a monster or a spell/trap. We have then Maxi, so we have about 5 disruption. So what's reborning the Kisa Kill and Leela? It's going to be the Yama through the Super Producer. So whenever you want, pop your Snitch, trigger the Yama, reborn, and get popping. Oh boy. Now we're going to do it. Within the main phase, pop, trigger Yama, Yama, reborn from the graveyard. Oh, we also have the Unchained Soul Abominable, so that's 6 disruptions. More than I said. come forth and summon, and now we're gonna pop 2 cards on the field. Discard a non-target pop, activate to also reborn. Now you would think we should do this in the end phase, right? Well, the Super Producer is main phase only, and the Kisa Kill is also main phase only. So they do have the opportunity to now newly set another trap for their hand. Randomly pop in the big welcome. Leela, pop in the back row card, Daruma, and that was enough to scoop it up. Holy moly, get popping during the opponent's turn. You just saw the turn 1 play. That is the way, right? Nothing was added on top of it. So if you want to play this deck, you know exactly what to do. If you hard open up 1 Sunny Snitch, 1 Leela, or 1 Kisa Kill, that's the play. Nicely done. Double Ogre. Set 4 pass. Now, the double welcome labyrinths, both of them can't be used in the same turn. Live Twin did not get new support. They just look different. That's it. So it reinvigorated the morale of Live Twin players to pick up the deck again. Now, the deck did change a little bit. If you're playing with Sprite, Sprite did receive some unlimit. So it is a bit better than the last time you saw the deck. Secret password into the Sunny Snitch. Sunny Snitch, search our deck for the Kisa Kill. Kisa Kill, activate, special summon for the deck, all under a max C. So what do? This is now a big problem because we perform a ton of special summons. We're special summoning from the hand, the Leela Treat, as we now make the Evil Twin Leela. Evil Twin Leela, reborn a Kisa Kill from the grave, and now we're going to Daruma Cannon, flip the entire field face down, but send the Leela to the grave. And all this under max C, we got super clapped up by this. This is devastating. Goodbye to that. We have the Ogre, which is not good against Labyrinth whatsoever. Imperm hopefully can negate the Dogmatica punishment possibly. By activating Imperm onto the Ariana, if there's a big welcome in the graveyard, which there is not, it could dodge the Imperm, so this actually works out. But we have a big welcome also on field. Whether it's on field or in grave, it will dodge the impermanence. So we're going to summon a body from the deck, hand, or grave, and then we're going to spin the Ariana back to the hand, dodging the impermanence. And now that you did not imperm the monster, what happens to the column? The column is now not negated. The Dogmatica punishment is safe from the impermanence. No bubbles. Grab a Torby with the Ariana, trigger the Lovely to pop a card on field or in the hand. And I mean, if a Lovely can resolve the effect of adding a trap from the grave, you lose. Pretty much that is what's going to happen. It's like not win rate when summoned, it's win rate when card effect is activated, you win. We're going to, within the battle phase, summon from the deck a Chandelier, poke for 1500 here, and this is it. If you didn't have a way to stop this, now we do get to pop it, but it's still being able to add back from the grave. Chandelier, discard a card from the hand, set another card from the deck here. This is way too much to keep up with. It's impossible. Big welcome will simply reborn the Lovely from the graveyard as we're popping it. Holy cope. What could we draw in? There's nothing. Give the entire deck. Pick up your deck, grab any 2 cards, and you still lose. Big welcome. Newly drawn card, pop the newly drawn card. And because you choose on resolution what to pop, that means you don't choose to pop the hand and then they chain a card to special summon, let's say Sprite Starter, summon a body onto the field. It would not matter. On resolution, wherever the card is on field or in hand, pop it and you are now done for good. Look at this card advantage. 6 cards in hand, 5 back row cards, popping a card from the hand with the Lovely. It's impossible. So very unfortunate. Swasi Senpai getting knocked out of the tournament from Lovely Labyrinth. Labyrinth is here. Labyrinth is top tier. Haga, wipe out Live Twin for good. Lethal damage. Damn, Swasi, I'm very happy you still joined today's event and was able to get top 16. Thank you for blessing us with the new animations. Are those little like hearts spinning? What is that? All right, let's go. Are you ready? Begin. Bro, I gave you that intro and you passed turn 1. Well, Black Magic Dark Magician can't special summon, nor can the Gandora G unless you have a Shining Sarc. Turn Silence negates a monster effect, but you have to control a Shining Sarc monster and a Shining Sarc itself. So dead, dead, dead. And we do have Ogre and Max C though, but there's an Ash Blossom to negate the Max C. Otherwise, the Ogre can be decent against a Yubel deck. It cannot pop the activation of Nightmare Throne, but the trigger effect, which you don't want to pop it on, you could instead use Ogre to pop a Nightmare Pain or even the Spirit Gates. Those are two really good pops with the Ogre. There we go, setting up the Spirit Gates. Now, the activation of Spirit Gates, you cannot pop it with Ogre, but the effect to Reborn from the Grave, that could be something good to get poppin', but now we're really screwed. We probably don't play an Ogre in our deck to be used with the Crossout Designator, but Ash negate Maxi, Phantom of Yubel negate the Ogre. That is a checkmate. We are fully pinned down. We had no other opportunity to even activate the Ogre, so it's not like, oh, you shouldn't have held on to it. That was it. Can't use it. Begin. Pot of E has to fix our hand. Ash negates the pot of E, but we have Gamma to negate the negate mate. But then we have Gamma to negate the negate, negate, and the negate. Oh my gosh, we are screwed. What the hell? Pot of E. Ash to negate. Oh gosh, it's about to happen. Double Gamma. Gamma. Negate the negate. Gamma, Gamma. Negate the negate, negating the negate mate. Negate. And now the pot of E, of course, is negated. And we have double Gandora G. This is just like having Dark Magician and Gandora. Instead, we have two Gandora. Gandora the Explorer. Holy crap, what could this card have done? It could have destroyed as many other cards as possible, summon a monster from the deck, which would... could have been maybe the Gadget Trio or a Silent Magician play. Oh, damn. You know, we could have had something. And with just the Ghost Ogre, as long as they don't set up a Phantom of Yubel, maybe we could do something. Like now. Get popping. Let's freaking go. It's not over. Take out the Spirit Gates. Now we're going to change Shavara, pop the Yama. Let's speed this up as our hand trap has now been used. Yama, trigger, reborn, the D-Lotus that we were trying to reborn through the Spirit Gates, so it looks like we are still definitely going to lose. We have Spirit of Yubel, setting up the Nightmare Pain, pop the Spirit, grab the Squirmer special summon, in addition to the Yubel summon from the deck. Pop the Yubel, summon a Tear Incarnate. We now have enough juice to summon a Phantom of Yubel, summoning another copy of Yama, right? We have double Yama. As we now Phantom of Yubel, summon the Soul of Anguish. It's okay, we don't have lethal damage, right? Surely? Hopefully? Oh, yes we do. We have an Access Code Talker and a Chaos Angel. Yup, that is over 8,000 damage, just like that. Wham bam, thank you ma'am. Lethal damage, more Saki. I'm very proud of you for getting to the top 16, but your deck failed you. Were you not wearing your cosplay while dueling or what? Begin. Kid Art not playing Thunder Dragon. This is very interesting. We have Maxi being negated by Crossout Designate. Negate. Now, in most cases, imperming the D-Lotus is a bad play, but it would actually shut them off here. And it actually worked. I could not believe it. Now, does Ritual Beast have any way to randomly destroy the Scythe? Because that would be a huge mistake. When destroyed, reborn onto the field and then lock them out of the extra deck. Thankfully, the Petal Fin, which targets the back row, does not destroy. It spins it back to the hand, so we are safe from that. I don't think there's anything in the extra deck here that would randomly pop it. Nope, nope, nope. We are good from a random pop Scythe. But we're not good against Max C. So the big question here is, holy moly, do we take the Max C challenge lethal damage? Do we have lethal? Yes, this is lethal, but how many draws are we willing to give them under Max C for it? This will be nice to see. Rapangu is going to be sending a Psychic Monster from the deck to the grave, summoning the Ulti Canahawk. Ulti Canahawk is activating the Search, not jumping off the field yet. We are now going to activate the Maxi before we banish from the grave to summon the Nochi, and we are not taking that challenge. Nope, we are not special summoning 20 times to perform lethal damage. We're going to end up on just like this. Now, did we end up on any disruption? No. This is zero disruption. Unless we emergency teleport an Ogre onto the field from the deck, that's right, Ogre works on the field, this is nothing. We have Nightmare Throne searching for the Dark Beckoning Beast, Dark Beckoning it up, searching for the Spirit Gates. This is where we would, on the resolution before it discards to reborn a monster from the grave, we summon an ogre. Bro, if you are summoning ogre here, no way. No way are we summoning ogre. Chain max C to max C. So if you finger my C, it then fingers yourself. This is a good play to be making against your opponent, but if they have an Ash Blossom, it completely counters that play. And the emergency teleport was supposed to eat the Ash, but it didn't. We just held onto our Ash Blossom instead, negating the max C. Always think about protecting your own C. Throw out other disruptions, other hand traps. Let them finger those other cards. Let them finger your Ash and then whip out the C. But it didn't work in this instance. Abo knew it was bait. Did not take the bait as we summon from the deck. What's the summon? The Ogre! The Ogre play! Let's go! Are we actually going to use Ogre on field? No way are we going to play around it. Ogre can destroy any monster effect activating on field, or it could destroy the Spirit Gates, discarding a Reborn from the graveyard, as we now make a Soul of Anguish. Soul of Anguish cannot link with a monster if the Ogre chain pops it. What the? We could just Battle Phase attack over it, but it eats up a Battle Phase? That's pretty good. He's doing it! What the? Ogre destroy the Anguish just like that. It's not just a hand trap, it's a field trap also. That will trigger the Yama to Reborn from the graveyard, and the Anguish will also add back from the grave to our hand. So by using the Anguish, forcing out, did Abo make a mistake? I think Abo purposely forced out Ogre so that we could use the Spirit Gates. That was the reason we did that. Now we could safely discard, Reborn, there's no other disruption on the field. Let's summon a Yubel from the deck. Spirit of Yubel, setting up the Nightmare Pain. I'll speed this up. Pain, pop the Spirit, grab a Squirmer, special Yubel, trigger the field spell, special summon the Terra Incarnate plus the Yubel, return from the grave, summon Phantom of Yubel, Soul of Rage is now here, make another Yubel, that's 2k, 2k, 2k. Not enough for lethal damage here, but we have Squirm, oh, yep, that is now lethal because Squirmer is gonna be the fourth body, that's it. In the battle phase, pop a Yubel to summon Terra Incarnate for the fourth 2k damage reflect. Damn. At 2,700, that is the threshold where only 3 Yubel attacks are needed. Well, we did 4 at 2k. Maxi stopped us from our one-turn kill. So now the question is, should Kid Art have just taken the Maxi challenge possibly, knowing that we very likely were going to lose anyway? We didn't have good hand traps outside the Maxi where if it were to get negated, we're then screwed. Droll is so good against a Ritual Beast deck. Now, what you could do, since we have the Nemesis, I guess Nemesis Flag could potentially be our only search here, where we can grab Protoss and then we get Drolled. Likely to not happen here. We do have a great turn one with the Inheritance plus a Tamer Laura, which is full Wombo combo. Now, we also have Protoss in the hand already, so that is definitely something. And it being Dark itself, just called Dark, it should be a first turn kill against Yubel. Now, believe it or not, if you don't have Nemesis Flag and you don't have Protoss in your hand, you could still search Protoss under Droll and Lockbird. How's that possible? You send Nemesis Flag to the grave with the Banshee, that's gonna be the rank 4 Xyz, and then you cross sheep, reborn the Nemesis Flag, the Nemesis Flag being your very first search. You're not Ulti-Hawk searching at all. So the fact, how you're even making this play where you're choosing to not search to play around a Droll that has not been activated is even crazy to think in itself, but you can do it. Inheritance. Inheriting by revealing the Tamer Laura to search for the Kana Hawk, discard our Nibiru, and now we just have to get 3 attributes on the field or in grave. We have Light, we have Wind, we need a 3rd attribute to summon Protoss, and we cannot add from the deck. Light and Wind. So what do? We're gonna send an Apelio, Nemesis Flag's gonna be the Fire. We have all 3 attributes to summon Protoss now while we cannot add from the deck. We're going to banish, summon the Ulti-Nochi, trigger the Cross Sheep, reborn the Nemesis Flag, banish 3 attributes for our Protoss, declare Dark. Now Dark monsters cannot be special summoned. Well, what happens if we deal with the Protoss? It does not matter. The ability of not being able to special summon Dark monsters is not tied to Protoss. It's now a lingering effect. Negating it does nothing, removing it does nothing, and we have Ulti Ray, which could banish any card on the field. We could banish that if we want to, or we could wait till the end phase to banish a back row card, whatever we want. And the Ulti Ray states, neither player can tribute cards to activate a card or effect. What tributes to activate? D Lotus cannot activate, and The Phantom of Yubel cannot activate to negate anything with an ulti ray on field. Now, ulti ray could banish itself, right? It could banish the inheritance to stay on the field. So what do? Can't special summon Dark. So we're summoning a Sprite Elf. Okay, most of our extra deck is Dark. Yep, that's probably the best thing we could do. Look at that, Dagda in the extra deck, absolutely. And then it just keeps calling Dark every turn. Dark into Dark into Dark. Yeah, man. Protoss needs to be rebalanced. It's gotta be like a once per duel effect or something. That is just nuts. Let's hop into game 3. No hand traps. We are going second though. We do have impermanent Max C, so I was looking at the wrong player who has hand traps here. As we are going to be whipping out the Maxi's gonna keep them in check, right? Well, by not maxing early against Yubel, you play into a Phantom of Yubel, now stopping your Maxi, and we're imperming the Dark Beckoning, not the Phantom of Yubel to then pull through with our Maxi. A brave strategy. Will it work? I do not know. Maybe protecting the Maxi would have been better, because it looks like they're playing right through your impermanence. Quite the gamble. Let's speed this up. We can't Maxi. Now, there's a problem with maxing early, and that is Gamma. And let's see the usage of Gamma in Master Duel of Yubel. It's probably quite high, right? So we look at Gamma here, Gamma it up, Gamma. Yeah, let's go on to Master Duel. So we just ended on that. We'll talk about the disruptions here. It is at 50. It's a 50-50 coin flip that they're going to have it if you want to maxi early in their draw phase, where otherwise they summon Phantom of Yubel, pinning your maxi from being used. Now, this is still good, despite it not looking good. This is pop any card in the field. This is negate any monster. This is link off with the special summon into a Little Knight Banish, into a Little Knight Banish again. That is 5 disruptions, 3 of them tied to the Unchained Soul of Rage itself. So if you have something like a Ghost Ogre, chain Ghost Ogre to the effect of the Soul of Rage, you turn off 3 disruptions. And it's a hard once return, so even if it gets reborn, it does not matter. So we could. You don't even think about this, but you could emergency teleport, summon an ogre on the field right now, and then start making your plays to counter the Soul of Rage, because it will pin it down. Then they're going to be forced to use the Unchained Escape to pop your ogre as you're trying to make your plays. Now, of course, that is without considering the Phantom of Yubel on field. It would be very interesting if we saw something like that, preempting the ogre to protect yourself. And think about an Apollo USA. If there was an Apollo, E-Telly the ogre, and then it pins down the Apollo. She can't negate anything because the ogre will pop her. To battle we go. We're going to use the escape to attempt to destroy the Apelio. It did not get destroyed because we used the hard once return effect of Laura in the graveyard to banish instead of being destroyed. Now, the Soul of Rage is reborning while we are declaring the attack with Apelio. Right? Did we trigger the Yama, or we passed on that? We couldn't. So, wow, we got super screwed on that. Did we make a mistake? Yes. We should have let it get destroyed. If it got destroyed, we could have reborned it with the Yama, and there would have been no problem. So the fact that we tried to destroy the Apelio, it still had the active attack for when the Soul of Rage would be reborn. Huge mistake. I think that's going to cost us big time. Because now we're hoping that another card gets destroyed. We could use Shavara to pop Phantom of Yubel to reborn the Soul of Rage to then link off with their monster, but then we lose out on our Phantom of Yubel. He doesn't reborn because of Max C. You think it's because of Max C? Really? I think it would still be worth it. No? I mean, what are we going to do? Just lose? Let's Rapangu send the Winda to the graveyard. And I mean, if you say because of Max C, we could have just destroyed it by battle. So why would we reborn it? It's within the battle phase on an attack that's still attacking. We are now going to ulti Kimu, which allows an additional summon, also boosting up the monsters it's pointing to. Banish in the grave, summon a when reborn the Apelio. All of the non-extra deck Ritual Beast monsters can only be special summoned once. As we now make an ulti Ray. Ulti Ray can add back a banished Ritual Beast card and then additional summon. As we now use Shavara, it looks like he does not care about Max C, okay? He's special summoning to special summon to then special summon again. You know what I'm saying? We are going to be jumping off. So is there a cool play where we could Shavara pop Phantom of Yubel to summon and then use Phantom of Yubel to then pop a card from the deck? in that we still summon Shavara? No, it has to pop in order to summon. And the big question I would be asking right now, does Yama trigger if you destroy a Yubel from the deck? Let's read it. A card you control is destroyed, you then get to summon your Soul of Rage. Do you control Yubel if you destroy it from the deck? No. Control meaning your field, so that's not a way to trigger it. This is the way to trigger our Soul of Rage. And the Phantom can't activate. Why can't it activate? Because we already talked about this, the ulti ray pinning down the Phantom of Yubel from being able to negate any monster effect. Monsters cannot tribute to activate a card effect. It's not just monsters. You can't tribute anything to activate any card or effect. So let's get Reborning with the ulti ray, ulti hawk that is, pop in the Phantom, trigger the Yama, reborn from the graveyard. Whoa, we passed. No, we did not, We're still triggering effects here. Okay, yep. We're using Inheritance to be changing the battle position of the Shavara, and it got popped. There you go, come forth. We got the Soul of Rage linking off with the ulti ray. Come to me. What? Muckraker? Huh? What the? Muckraker? What the heck was that? Huh? Where's the Little Knight? What? Okay, well, we have Steeds. So, what the muck is this? We have the Steeds, which will be able to non-target pop monster in the field. We also have Ash Blossom. And beyond that, that is our only form of disruption. The Shavara, can't summon her? Why not? What was the situation here? We special summon. We then destroyed the Soul of Rage was, we're not locked in. Wait, did we Shavara locked? It's only while face up. This says, while face up, you cannot special summon except fiend monsters. But it wasn't on the field. It was destroyed. So we special summoned, and then we summoned Shavara, then it got popped, okay? And then we were able to Soul of Rage with no Shavara on the field. So what? I don't understand why we didn't summon a Little Knight. What the heck happened? Piri, Reese, Map, Ash Blossom, Negate. Now, there are other Unchained cards where you use their effects, like Aruha and the Rikea, which will lock you into Fiend-type monsters for the rest of the turn, but that is not the Shavara. Shavara is while face up. All right, I guess this is Muckraker, discard, Reborn, the Soul of Rage, sure, we're ready with the Steeds, get poppin' now. The Muckraker has the ability to protect yourself from being destroyed. If a monster would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you could tribute one Fiend monster instead. If something says instead, it cannot protect if it's also being destroyed. Now, let's talk about something like the Sangan Summoning. If I am destroying the Sangan Summoning and a monster on the field at the same time, the Sangan Summoning will protect the card on field. So there's a difference between instead and then cards like Sangan Summoning that are just providing a blanket protection when you are destroying them at the same time as another card. So let's say the new Melodious card, the Atoli, which returns face-up cards back. They have a Sangan and a Pydra on field, and you spin both of them back to the hand. They both go back, right? No. The Sangan Summoning goes back, but the monster stays because it still provides that blanket protection when being spun back. We're going to Inheritance, change the battle position of a monster here because two monsters were summoned at the same time. This effect is mostly irrelevant. It doesn't provide any good chain link blocks, but it could, during the opponent's turn, change one of their big monsters in a defense that they want to attack into you with. If the window dies, it could summon an ulti ray that we don't have in the extra deck, which would turn it into a form of disruption. Otherwise, it could summon an ulti Gaia Pelio, but ulti Gaia cannot negate unless it's properly fusion summoned through its effect to summon. As we now make the Soul of Rage, which is not even a fusion summon, by the way. We're going to Apelio Banish Boost up the field. No Soul of Anguish play. We have Apelio boosting up the field. 500, again, double boost on their turn and on yours just to banish cards from your grave as we now make the Banshee. We are going to be banishing from the graveyard to summon our Nochi jump off into the Banish Ulti Ray. Ulti Ray cannot attack directly, so do keep that in mind when you're hovering over the surrender button. Nemesis Flag, return back the Ulti Ray, the second copy, search our deck for our Protoss. Protoss is here, let's link this off to make room so we could banish a Protoss. Ulti Ray, additionally add back a banished card to additionally summon it. As we then fuse it into an ulti Apelio, it loses the attack boost when attacking. As we then banish for Protos pop Dark. You are going to be activating the Yama, but you can't special summon Dark. We have the Soul of Anguish adding the Dark Beckoning Beast back to our hand. Come back, and then the Yama is going to be summoning a fire monster, so that still works. As we could not attack directly with the ulti array, we make sure to wipe out the Shavara with that. And just like that, lethal damage. Very nicely done from both players. Protos is pretty good. Protos is good. So is there any confusion in the chat between what happened in that duel? Because I think there was with the summon lock situation. We know that the Shavara is only while it's face up on the field. The question is, why didn't we Little Knight? And I don't know. I don't know why we didn't Little Knight. Wanted Seeker and the standby phase for the brand new Snake Eye Diablo Star is here. We're going to discard her right away to summon our Diablo Star. So now, when Kieran is destroyed, it can summon our Votsa to negate a monster, so that's one disruption. It will also pop a card in the field. The Amble Whale will also pop a card in the field. The Amble Whale will also reborn the Masquerena, which could then link into a Little Knight, into another Little Knight banish. That's 5 disruption. We also have Promethean Princess, which will be able to pop a special summon monster. So that is, I'm counting 6 disruptions. Am I missing anything? I think that is good. Let's go. 6. Yep. Ostinato. Only while we control no monsters do we get to perform a branded fusion play into summoning Bacha. Bacha will summon another monster from the deck. Come forth, reframe, search our deck. Kieran is going to get poppin'. What are we doing with the Kieran pop here? Popping the Amblo Whale. Sure, we have not turned on one of our 6 disruptions yet. Amble Whale, reborn the Masquerena, which is the 2 disruptions I was talking about. We're going to finger the Amblo Whale, which will turn off 3 disruptions. From 6 disruptions now down to 3 with 1 finger. That's crazy. We stopped the Masquerena into Little Knight double banish. We stopped the Amble Whale popping a card in the field. With 3 disruptions left, can we break this Melodious play? We're going to couplet, search our deck for the ability to fuse with our back row field in hand, as we then fuse it up into a second copy of Bacha. 2 Bachas make the absolute 0. We then send it to the grave for an Omni Negate. Do we try to disrupt that? Couplet triggering itself to go into our back row as we now make the absolute dragon. If sent to the grave, the Omni Negate is then turned on. We're going to Promethean Princess, pop it. So we are now down to 2 disruptions left. Absolute Dragon. Also, the Bacha being sent to the grave is going to be reborning the Reframe. Concerto also draw a card because a fusion was sent to the grave. As we now toss in the Max freaking C. Draw per special summon here. You are negated. You forgot that you were fingered. You fingered yourself, mate. What? Why do we do that? Now, this has an additional effect. Not only is it a negate, but it has target an attack position monster, return it back to the hand. Let's get to it. As we now use the Wing of Light, search in our deck. What are these 2 disruptions in my hand? It is a Kieran being popped from the deck or field to the effect of the Sacred King Garunix after a fire monster is destroyed. So right now we don't have a way to destroy our own fire. We are solely reliant on the opponent destroying our own fire to then be able to pop a card in the field and summon the Arvata to negate a monster in the field. So these 2 disruptions are nothing if a fire monster does not get destroyed. What do we do? Normally you use Promethean Princess to trigger these disruptions. Come forth, Electromite. And we also have an Omni Negate to negate that from even happening, right? If we negate the Sacred King Garunix, then these disruptions are nothing. So I'll still hold it up, even though it's likely not going to happen. We also have the Call by the Grave Finger to also turn off these 2 other disruptions. And it's also worth noting that in the TCG, they don't play Snake Eye Diablo Star in a Snake Eye Fire King deck, and then we saw it do nothing. So what is its purpose? We're going to summon the Parallel Exceed, the Pendulum, grab back an extra deck monster, then Pendulum Shokan, up to 3 cards from the extra deck, as many as we want from the hand. Trigger the effect of the Supreme King Magician, as we now turn this into an Axis Code Talker. Garunix is under Zamba. Oh, shoot. Is it really? How'd that happen? The Sacred King Garunix can't trigger if it's an Xyz material. Huh? It's stuck under the Zombie Vampire. What the? How'd that happen? Axis Code Talker, banishing, taking out the Fire King Island. Fire King Island wiping out the entire field, triggering the Kirin to summon Arvata and non-target pop a card in the field like the Axis Code Talker, but we're now negated. And just like that, the Sacred King Garunix does not trigger here because it was not in the grave at the time the cards were destroyed. Holy moly. This is Supreme King Melodious. Not Melodious, but with Supreme King. Volcanics is similar to the Fire King Island, so negating it is a good idea, I'd say, as we imperm negate. Now, what's interesting here is we could have played into a Kirin, which is semi-limited to dodge the impermanence, but we would maybe want to Gamma negate the Kirin to ensure the Volcanics gets negated, but then we trigger the Kirin to then summon a random Fire King from the hand. But if they have no Fire King in the hand, then negating and destroying the Kirin would have just been a great play. So overall, pretty cool interaction, even though it looked like nothing really happened. So this is still something. If the Volcanics gets destroyed, which we are solely reliant on the opponent to do so, that will then trigger Garunix to then trigger the Kirin to then summon the Arvata. So essentially what we have is 3 disruptions despite this crappy turn 1 play. To no fault of Bull, though. Ostinato, send from the deck a double refrain to summon the Bacha. This is, what's crazy is the Ostinato doesn't lock you into Melodious only. The first movement solo, which summons a Melodious in the deck, that does lock you into Melodious. So this is what's making it really techable into any deck. Call by the Grave, fingering the refrain, negate. So if you're trying to summon a 3rd refrain from the deck here, you can still summon it. It's just not gonna be able to search for the couplet, which is generally going to be one of the main plays we do as we summon a couplet instead of the 3rd refrain to now make Beyond the Pendulum. Beyond the Pendulum is going to be chain link blocked from being popped by the Ogre thanks to the engrave effect of the Bacha. Also chain link blocked from an Ash Blossom, negating it from searching. We are reborning our negated refrain, setting up our pendulum scales, which are negated until we pendulum summon. Get Pendulum Summoning into the couplet and our Supreme King Gate Magician, searching for our Wing of Light, as we now make an Apollo USA to negate the Garunix. So the situation is, if you try to negate Garunix, the Ogre will not negate, but it will destroy the Apollo, thus the Apollo does not negate the Garunix. But there's another problem here. You can't Ogre in the damage step. So if we damage step trigger Garunix, we then can't use Ogre, as the Apollo will successfully negate the Garunix. What do? And there is no way to chain link block a Garunix in hand. In the TCG, you can. In Master Duel, you cannot do it. It's not possible. I could explain that further if you care. Electromite, search our deck, put the Astrograph into the extra deck here, pop our scale, grab the Astrograph trigger to draw a card, trigger the Astrograph if we wanted to, which you chose not to do, set up the Supreme King to then grab the Gate 0. Now we're going to trigger the Astrograph, search our deck for a destroyed card. We're going to search for the Supreme King Magician here, send from the extra deck the special summon, as we then make Exceed the Pendulum. Exceed the Pendulum, add an extra deck monster Pendulum back to our hand, special summon it onto the field or a monster from the grave, as we then make the Absolute Dragon. Absolute Dragon made sense to the grave for the Axis Code Talker. That's going to trigger the Absolute and the Axis Code Talker, as we then boost and set up another Omni Negate. Now with our Vortex, we're going to return back the Volcanics back to the hand, so there is no fire monster to destroy, to trigger the Garunix, thus lethal damage 2-0 with Supreme King Melodious. Damn, we got a deck. We got a new top tier deck, yes. Is it Melodious better than Supreme King Melodious, or Supreme King the way? Begin. We have Neo Space Connector, which is a good way to rip an Ash Blossom out of the opponent's hand. So by Ash negating the Max C, you passed up on activating your own Ash, and now your Ash is gone. So you saved Ash for something like an I Sold. Nope, it ain't there anymore because we rip it out. And now we should essentially win the entire duel off of that play, that interaction of holding on to the Ash and hoping that our Maxi would go through. Let's speed this up. One of the best turn ones. Spell and Trap card negate, Spell and Trap card negate. We have Quick Effect, pop a card in the field with the Roland and it's non-target. We have Angelic Ring, negate a spell. We have Apollo, negate, negate, negate. We also have the Impermanence. Did we get a Promethean Princess in the graveyard? So that's 8 disruptions. No Promethean, so just 8 disruptions. Did I already say Gearfried? So that would be 9. 9 disruption, right? 9. Negate. By sending an equip card, not gonna happen with the Gearfried and destroy. And then we have the other follow-up disruptions of Papa, negate and Spell and Traps, negating other monster effects. We also have the Impermanence, right? So that was 10 disruption, including the Impermanence. 10. Apollo, negate the Garunix. Any other spells that you'd want to be activating would be no good. Holy moly. And just like that, we don't have enough cards in the hand through all these disruptions. Emperor Charles the Great, negate a spell activation, and then Diablosaur doesn't activate in the hand, so you would not be able to Apollo it, but we are going to be, we could imperm it if we want to. Do we imperm? We Apollo the on-field effect though, just not negating its summon. We could also use the Charles the Great to trigger to pop a card in the field by equipping the Roland, and there you go. Negate, 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 pop, 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 negate, you fool. Let's hop into game number 2. What do? Ponix is a play. Show me the way. Imperm negate. Negate the negate, mate, by banishing Imperm from the deck as we search for the Fire King Sanctuary. And just like that, no more disruptions. What's going to be unfortunate is the Ash Blossom in hand to negate something like Connector or the original Sinful. Making Zombie Vampire, mill 4 cards from both players, summon onto the field. The Rhino Heart, which would have been crazy if we actually triggered its effect. Hida, steal the Ash, make a Promethean Princess. Promethean Reborn from the Grave Volcanics. Volcanics pop the Stolen Ash to grab a Kirin. Make an Amblo Whale. Whale, whale, whale. How many disruptions do we have here? The Amblo Whale could reborn a Link 2 or lower, which does not matter here, but it's going to have the effect to pop a card in the field. We have Promethean pop a special summon. We have the Garunix, which will pop a card on the field through the effect of the Kirin. We don't have an Arvata here, unfortunately, so that's going to be something. And then we have the Ash Blossom, and then we have Nibiru. So that's about 5 disruptions with this current field. Yep, let's go. And then the Ash Blossom and Nibiru. 2 extra disruption. Negate. So in-engine disruption plus the non-engine. We're going to follow up with the Heritage. Heritage into the field spell, searching for a Noble Arms card. Come to us, Durendal. Durendal, equip, Durendal, search for the Fireflint Lady, which will give us access to our I Sold. Special summon into a Promethean. Nope, not Promethean. As we then make a Relinquish Anima. Relinquish Anima is going to not be able to suck up the Amblo Whale, but we will Promethean Princess get poppin', so we're now down to 5 disruption. We can trigger the Amblo Whale to reborn the Hida. That's not a disruption. We're going to Original Sinful, send to summon, activate Ricardetto, reborn the Fireflint Lady, as we now Kirin. Pop the Promethean to trigger the Garunix, to also trigger the Amblo Whale to pop a card on the field. Get poppin'. Take out the Anima, as we then pop the card on field, I'm thinking. Yup. Trigger the Kirin, reborn from the Grave Ponix, pop another card in the field. We have Immortal Gearfried, special summoning by banishing into Nibiru. Tribute off the entire field here. I think I was counting the in hand already, yeah? Because there's no other disruptions. 4,100 defense, 8,550 attack. we're going to pop a non-fire. So our Garunix Engrave does not trigger. We are going to Ponix into Linkuriboh. Linkuriboh with the Nibiru into Little Knight to desperately deal with this giant token. We now cannot attack directly. This is not looking good. What the heck? We can't, all of our Kirans are gone. So even if we were able to trigger our Sacred King Garunix, it can't even turn into a form of disruption. Our Promethean is dead because we don't control a fire monster. So on a special summon, that's not going to work. This is just bad. We are out of juice. We just have Little Knight. Little Knight's our only form of disruption. The Ogier is not big enough to take out the Little Knight, unfortunately. Ricardetto, special summon Ogier. Ogier, send from the deck the Magus, normal summon the Jet Synchron into our own Little Knight. We're going to Magus trigger. We're going to chain Little Knight onto the Magus effect. Now, does that stop the Magus from using its effect? If this card's in the graveyard, you can target a warrior to then equip, so we just don't want it to equip. Not going to happen, so we chain Banish until the end of the turn. End our turn, Little Knight versus Little Knight. Nibiru's not a fire, so again, we can't pop a fire to trigger the Garunix to Reborn from the grave. What the heck is going on here? All right, I'll mace from our deck to our hand. No play in sight. 1 for 1 is going to completely end this duel. That's it. It is now over. Ash and a Poplar. Poplar trigger, summon the Ash. Poplar, search for the original Sinful. Ash, send the Sanctuary, summon a Flameburge. Flameburge, equip the Kirin. Linkuriboh, come forth and summon. Poplar, equip the Hida. Link it off into a Dark, which could steal a Dark monster, plus trigger the Flameburge to Reborn 2 level 1 fires from the grave. We're going to steal the opposing Little Knight. Thank you very much. Link it off into Zealantis. Zealantis into Nightmare Phoenix. Remember this. Link 4 plus 2 bodies equals lethal on an open field with Zealantis. Because there's no body on the opponent's field to pop with your Promethean Princess. So you pop your own Phoenix to then reborn your Raging Phoenix or your Sacred King Garunix. Both will work, and just like that, it's 1-1. Nicely done. Dolphin, take a gander at that hand, rip out the Ash Blossom. Now, Branded and the TCG used to cope so hard on Dolphin. They would special summon Dolphin from the deck through the spell that reveals the fusion to just rip Ash out, and then after they rip Ash, follow up a Branded Fusion. Triple Tactics Talent, further looking at the hand after you activated your Max C. Now, what's good? The Volcanics is a bit different than the field spell. It is kind of similar, but the field spell can destroy any type of monster. The Volcanics must destroy a fire. Otherwise, it's the same effect as Fire King Island. This is no good. Let's go back to you as we now have a Grass. Grass against 36 cards in the deck. We're now going to be making the Isolde. Well, get ready with that Nibiru. Already at 2 summons here. Adding the Rhino that cannot be used this turn. Send forward a special summon. We're on summon number 3. Gear Blade, add from the graveyard back to the hand. Gear, also send from the deck. When do we whip out that Grass? Oh boy, that was the Ash bait. Did not Ash the Isolde, so we now know that Grass is safe. First, we're going to further bait. Set up the original Sinful. We're on 4 summons. We played around Nibiru. What the? 5,900. That's okay. It's not enough for lethal damage. Attack. Yep. 2,500. 59. 1,800. Trigger the Gear Blade. Attack again. Not just you, but also you. Lethal damage. Under Nibiru. 4 summons. 2-1. Let's go. Angelo, we're going to set up the double pendulum scales. I don't know what you're doing in the top 16, mate, but you made it. Invitere is going to not be negated as the Gamma negates the negate, mate, as we special summon from the deck. Not just the Gamma, but what are we inviting? Inviting the Celatrice. Celatrice is here. We're going to link off the Celatrice into the Artemis. Artemis, as we then trigger the Celatrice to add back to the hand from the grave. Then we normal summon, triggering the effect into Imperm negating. Could we have summoned a Little Knight first? Should we have Little Knight, then summon Celatrice to dodge the impermanence? Was this a mistake? Negate. Not really doing much with the Gamma here as we turn this into a 4 material Apollo pass. With no imperm, you're in trouble as we now have 4 monster negates. Maxi in the draw phase cannot activate Gamma or Ash as the Apollo would negate. We're going to be drawn per special summon here. I sold on summon. Search our deck. I don't think we're negating that because the card we search we can't even use. Send 4 to special summon. We definitely negate. Negate. 3 negates left. And you can't battle over a 2400 Apollo if we are not big enough. Grab back the Gear Blade. We're now going to Phoenix, Gear Blade, banish in the grave to summon. Negate. Now we're dropping down to a range where we could attack into the Apollo. 16 versus 16, or we can equip the Gear Blade. We're going to Magus, equip onto the I Sold, and then pass. We didn't want to swing. What was it? Why didn't we want to do it? The equipped monster cannot be destroyed by battle. 16-16. Were we afraid of the effect of this? When the opponent declares an attack, you can immediately after this resolves, link summon a Vaalmonica Link monster. Would that have been an issue? I mean, we have none of the Vaalmonica counters to even really do anything off of that, right? Let's go. Please Decade, please what? Whoa, what's going on? Did I mess up something? Did you just please at me and then you have no follow-up? Okay, thank you. Angelo and Apollo into Little Knight. Little Knight is here. Come forth and summon on summon. Banish a card in the field, getting rid of the I Sold, but also getting rid of our direct attack. Now, the Magus being sent to the graveyard is going to trigger to return up to 3 cards back in the deck that are banished or engraved to draw 1. We're now going to triple Tactics Talent, draw 2, showing Desperation, as we add our Celatrice to Pendulum summon itself onto the field. Pendulum, Shokan, activate, search our deck for the Celta. Celta is now activating to search our deck for the Disharmonia. And now with the Disharmonia, we are going to be adding a Vaalmonica card from the graveyard back to the hand, Invitaire. Now, Invitaire in the name, you invite the Angelica monster and the Domino into the extra deck. So we're going to invite it. Instead, we special summon instead of adding to the hand. I guess because we didn't have our Pendulum summon yet, did we already Pendulum? We're going to be adding the Vaalmonica followed Rhythm by copying a card in the grave and setting up a Baguska. To battle we go, it can't attack directly. Let's talk about our disruptions here. Baguska forcing all opposing monsters or even your own into defense, and they are negated if they activate while in defense. So we have a hard floodgate, and then with the trap, we have the ability to destroy a back row and return a monster back to the hand, which are both non-targeting. So that's going to be, I'll count that as 1 disruption, and then we could copy the effect of Zebufera. Zebufera will copy the trap again to spin another monster back to the hand. And we have Ash Blossom, so Quadra Disruption. Let's go. Phoenix Gearfried, banishing to summon. Into defense you go. Fireflint Lady, special summon. Equip with the Magus. Sure, you are negated anyway. You can't negate a monster effect while there's a Baguska on field. Making a Link Karibo. We're now going to use the followed Rhythm to spin back Link Karibo. We could not destroy the back row. We're now going to Zebufera again, copy the effect, but spin back the Gearfried. And just like that, let's go. We didn't even use up our Ash Blossom, and of course we still have our active Floodgate through the Baguska. The Magus is really putting in work, continually recycling. A lot of people don't play the Magus, but I think you should. What is this? Flame Swordsman play? No, of course not. Hopefully next turn, maybe. Baguska can maybe put itself into attack position this turn, turning off the Floodgate effect. Just like that, it now becomes untargetable. As we Pendulum summon into the Angela, we're going to copy the effect of the followed Rhythm to pop a back row card as we then make the Daraloom. Daraloom can attack up to 3 times by removing 3 resonance counters. And just like that, 25, 25, 25, lethal damage as we hop into game number 2. What is good? Let's get to it. Let's do it. Infernoble going first. Well, we have a lot of hand traps to stop them from creating what is many to believe the best turn 1 play in Yu-Gi-Oh! It's got the highest win rate when summoned, right next to Kali Yuga though. So I guess Raid Raptor is considered better if they start cooking. So when do we start whipping out the Maxi, Ash, and Gamma? We're going to Gamma, negate, and destroy the Flame Swordsman. chain Maxi to draw just for that one Gamma special summon. It's not like an Nibiru where you summon then summon. It's summon both at the same time, so just draw one. And it not only negates, also destroying, stopping them from summoning an Ice Sold. Flame Swordsman, send from the deck the Salamandra when sent to the Grave Searcher deck for the Salamandra Fusion. Let's link this up into Linkuriboh. Imperm pass, that's it. All right, let's start cooking. Let's go. Dimino, discard another card to set up the Pendulum Scales, one from the deck and from the hand. Versailles is going to be milling, right? What'd you do? Send a Vaalmonica card from the deck to the grave. So we sent the Celatrice, then we add it back to the hand to normal summon it. Celatrice is going to get negated on the search as we, again, don't have a Little Knight. Not that we could have made one here, but no way to stop the negate as we Celta. Search our deck for the Invitaire, which is what we were searching for anyway with the Vaalmonica Celatrice. As we Invitaire to our hand and extra deck. This is what I was talking about earlier. Setting up the double Vaalmonicas to then Pendulum summon them onto the field. This is a rank 4 Xyz if you'd like. We're going to banish from the grave the Celta to copy the effect to grab the, what is the Into Nair? I've never seen that one. That's not new, is it? I'll read that if we actually use it. We're going to Electromite, set up the Astrograph, pop the Pendulum Scale to grab the Astrograph, trigger Electromite to draw a card, trigger the Astrograph to summon, and search our deck for an Angelo. Come forth. We're setting up lethal damage here, yes? We should be. Angelo is here. Thrust randomly drawn. Set up the Angelo again as the Pendulum Scale. Exceed the Pendulum into an Axis Code Talker, yes. Add back an extra deck monster, special summon it onto the field. And now, we're activating the effect. 2. If you have any monster in your graveyard that can be special summoned, your opponent chooses one of them for you to special summon to your field. What? The heck was that? Gain 500. Why didn't they summon your Maxi? If you have any monster in your graveyard that can be special summoned, your opponent chooses one of them to summon. Huh? All right, and we copy the effect to then special summon Maxi again. So we use the effect twice. Special summon Astrograph. What the heck is going on here? Holy moly, Vaalmonica with the 2-0 victory. Absolute madness. We'll see you in the top 8. Yubel versus Yubel. Piri Reason to grab a regular Yubel, normal, the Dark Beckoning, Imperm onto the Dark Beckoning. Now what do? We're going to link this off into an Almirage. That doesn't help us out right now. As Yubel and Dark Beckoning are returned back to make the Phantom of Yubel, then we pass with just an Imperm. So we have 2 disruptions here. We could finger that Phantom of Yubel. Both players on Piri Reese map after the nerfs. Deload is some for the deck. We're going to negate the negate with the finger mate. Finger that Phantom of Yubel. Summon from the deck Spirit of Yubel. Imperm, negate the Spirit of Yubel, Shavara dodge the impermanence. So we had Finger and Shavara to play through both disruptions. Now we got nothing. We have Nightmare Pain. Look at the hand here to ensure that we can make big plays. With Shavara on field, we're locking the Fiend-type monsters. We did the only correct thing in this situation, which was to scoop it up. We are out of here. Yuma surrendering, Diavolo taking game 1. Spirit Gate searching for the Dark Beckoning Beast. Droll and Lockbird, no more adding for you. Thus, holy crap, we are screwed. We just have impermanence. We're going to summon our Phantom of Yubel before setting up the Nightmare Throne to search for the D-Lotus. D-Lotus, activate summon from the deck a Spirit of Yubel. Imperm, negate Spirit of Yubel from searching for a Nightmare Pain that's already in our hand. Rip. And then we pop the Spirit of Yubel searching for the... I'm out of here. Screw this. Thank you very much. A very quick Yubel versus Yubel. Our frame is full 1-card combo. What are we full 1-card comboing into? Well, let's find out. Now, this doesn't seem like much because there's literally 1 disruption. Wait, what? It's very similar to Voiceless Voice, where instead of setting up a bunch of disruptions, you're just setting up a really good field, a very difficult field to out. And that is through the area. If this card is special summoned, your monsters cannot be targeted by card effects whatsoever and cannot be destroyed by battle. And the Atoli, whenever you want, could banish up to as many Melodious monsters as you want to come back in the end phase and return that many face-up cards on the field back to the hand. And if she leaves the field due to an opponent's card, you can special summon a Melodious from the deck or extra deck. So how do we break this? Well, a non-target way to break this field would be fusion deployment. Albaz can non-target fuse with their monsters, but you could then spin back the Albaz, but that forces out the once per turn disruption. We also have Shiberta, which could banish up to 3 cards from either player's graveyard, including within the damage step. Branded Regained. We're gonna set up the Regained and then deploy. Deploy into Cartesia, not Albaz. Alibur, searching the deck for a branded fusion. Sure. And now we're gonna hit them with the Droll and Lock Bird. No more adding from the deck to the hand. Send from the deck Lubellion and Albaz to make Albion. Albion against Shiberta is a bad idea. Now, if you make the Lubellion Dragon and the cards get banished, you could return them back to still fuse, but how are you gonna fuse with Albaz and Grave if it gets banished by Shiberta? And we don't have Branded Loss to stop the Shiberta from activating. We're actually gonna spin back the Albion instead of banishing. Interesting. Wow. 1, 2, 3. Banish 3, return 3. Damn. That worked out, but we still get to summon a Lubellion Searing Dragon off of that fusion summon of the Albion. So again, why did we not banish the Albaz and Grave? The Albaz and Grave was just used to banish, and otherwise it would have not been usable. Return back into a Mirror Jade. Yeah, now we're Shiberting. It's a bit late, mate. We're now going to, we want to do it before the activation of the Regained. I guess we didn't want the Regained to trigger off of Shiberta, so that's put us off from wanting to banish Albaz. Huh. We're going to send Titan-Clad, non-target banish the area, which was protecting us from being targeted and being destroyed by battle. Now, even though this looks favorable for Branded, I think Melodious still wins because their field's coming back in the end phase. It is incredibly difficult to deal with the Atoli. And the Atoli does not trigger the Mirror Jade to wipe out the field because when returned back to the extra deck, no trigger when leaving the field. We are in big trouble. And we have no other real, what are our disruptions? Nothing. We already used the Mirror Jade. So let's see what Melodious could do. Let's get Melodious in, return, banish 2 to then return 2 back as we now get Pendulum Summoning into the Soprano when special summon, add back from the grave as we now use the Concerto to fuse with both our Pendulum Scales. Field, hand, or back row. Fusion summon into the Boccia. Boccia summon from the deck. The couplet's gonna be adding itself, also the refrain as Pendulum Scales. Let's set that up. As we summon a refrain from the deck, search our deck for a Sonata, which could special summon and boost up the field to over 13,000 damage. Despite a questionable turn of not being able to, not disrupting with the Shiberta, but was able to push back with the Atoli, but it still turned into a Mirror Jade, Melodious still massively clapped that up. Let's hop into game 2. Let's Branded Regain plus a Gold Sarc. Gold Sarc could trigger the monster and the Regain at the same time. What? Thunder Dragon Branded. Huh? Gonna grab a Hawk, Droll and Lockbird, no more adding for the rest of this turn from the deck that is only. Activate a Thunder to summon a Thunder, send a Thunder for the Colossus. You Droll and Lockbird and me, I now Droll you through the Colossus. We're gonna thrust set a Grass to be used during the next turn as the Threatening Roar guarantees another turn. Now, the Colossus will be destroyed by the Raigeki, right? Wrong. The Colossus will banish a Thunder from the grave. And you probably don't even want to Raigeki because you're going to trigger either the Hawk or the Dark to search or mulligan our hand. What do? So we're not doing it. We're going to summon a Melodious, then special summon a Melodious to make the link to Melodious, as we can't add from the deck, but we can still special summon from the deck. Discard on summon, double special summon. Add from the grave is okay as long as it's not the deck. We're then gonna fuse with the field only. Soprano into Boccia. Summon from the, I think this answers my question of, can you play Droll to stop Maxi and still make great plays? That looks like is what's happening. Yup, as long as you, I guess you summon refrain, and then as long as maybe your refrain goes through, beyond that you'd be okay. Maybe also the grab the Concerto with your couplet. Now it's battle or card effect destruction. So they're both. Banish both, and you can do it as many times as you want. Had we made a Shiberta? Shiberta is how big? Shiberta is at 2400. If you have any way to boost it up through something like a Diva Sonata, you could then banish both of the Thunder Dragons to then take out the Colossus if you badly want to take it out. But then again, we did have the Threatening Roar to protect us if needed. Gold Sarc, banishing from the deck before we whip out that Grass. And the Grass is public knowledge. We know that it's there. And what's unfortunate about the Link 2 being so powerful, it locks you in a Melodious only. You can't summon a non-Melodious before or after the activation of the Link 2, and that's a special summon. We're going to summon the Albaz on summon, discard to fuse, and as you can see, there is no Itoli on the field, so with no Itoli, you pretty much have no disruptions. The Bacho and Sense of the Grave will reborn from the graveyard, a Soprano, which will not do much during the opponent's turn. It's going to add back from the hand, from the grave. Now, the field is still untargetable and indestructible by battle. So we're going to do a big fat Grass. Holy moly, I just saw a Christia. Arc Lord Christia now in the graveyard, sending Retribution to recycle back in grave our branded fusion. Come to me from the grave. I think Melodious definitely is going to be losing here, as we do have the Mirror G to non-target monster banish the area protecting the full field of monsters. Send from the deck to summon our Albion Shrouded Dragon. Not Shrouded, the branded that is. And then we banish from the graveyard to come forth and summon Albion Sanctifier. Sanctifier untargetable, triggering the effect of Golden Sword Soul to banish to summon a Cartesia from the hand or grave. We're going to then send the Albion for the Lubellion. Lubellion setting up a Branded Lost, Cartesia fusing under Branded Lost into the Grand Granule, triggering the Branded Lost and the Grand Granule. Search our deck for the Mercurier, Monster Negate, send from the deck Mate, Serenir, trigger, send. Also under the protection of the Branded Lost, banish with the Mirror Jade non-target, get rid of the area. And just like that, we have 11,000 damage with the Battle Protection no longer being on the field. Lethal damage, Thunder, Dragon, Branded. That wasn't lethal? What the heck? Too many bodies on the field. Nadir Servant, I was hoping it was lethal. We don't have an Entis to pop something? Like, really? We couldn't lethal? Summon for the deck a Quen, send from the deck a High Spirits to add back within the end phase. Now we have our Monster Negate. We have the protection with a Threatening Roar. We could brand in red. Raigeki. Wipe out the entire field except the Colossus. And not even the fusion monsters, because the branded opening also banishing itself from the grave to protect. You didn't read the grave. Branded regain, triggering, return back the Thunder Dragon Dark, grab a Nibiru, normal summon, our refrain, and then Keck wait. Why isn't it activating the search? Well, Colossus says no. 1-1. Activate with no monsters. Use the deck to fuse into the Bacha. We're sending a Soprano and a Refrain. Bacha, summon a monster from the deck, which will be the Shapina. Shapina, in an open game state, add back a monster in gray, which will be the Refrain, to normal summon Refrain. Refrain, search our deck for the Couplet. Couplet could trigger to reborn from the graveyard the Soprano. So we didn't use the Soprano in hand yet, so we don't need it. We're going to search for the Concerto with the Couplet. Soprano, fuse with the field into a Shiberta. As we now trigger the Refrain to set up the Pendulum Scale, send from the deck a monster, the Sonata. Now Concerto, fuse with the field, including our Pendulum Scales, to make our Itoli. That is going to be triggering the Bacha to reborn from the grave the Shapina, as the Couplet sets itself up as a Pendulum Scale. Now, with Shapina not being a hard once per turn, we're going to add back the Sonata, which we sent from the deck with the Refrain. Special summon Sonata as we link this up into the Bloom. Bloom, discard any card. So this straight up is just the Ostinato. This is Ostinato, no other cards needed. Ostinato plus discard any card from the hand. This is the full play. Now, what did we accomplish here? We have the quick effect to banish 3 cards from either player's graveyard, which is not really a disruption. We do have the protection of being targeted by card effects, and we can't be destroyed by battle. The only real disruption we have is the Itoli. The Itoli can non-target spin up to 5 cards back to the hand the opponent controls. That's face up. And the Link 2, I don't think it's doing anything. It's just if it points to a monster and it attacks, they can't activate anything. Beyond that, it does nothing. We got the Sonata boosting. We also have hand traps in addition to the Itoli. The real deal with Melodious is just, this is very difficult to deal with. That's it. You think, how do I out this? And you generally come up with the answer of, I can't, which means you then lose. So let's see what happens. Oh, whoa. Super Polly, but even if you out her, she is going to trigger Engrave to summon a Melodious from the deck or extra deck. Wow. Okay, let's see it. Super freaking Polly. Discard to fuse the Atoli away. Now, is this a big deal? We're about to find out. The Atoli is now triggering. Atoli Engrave, we are going to summon from the deck or extra deck. The Concerto is going to be triggering to draw a card here. Sure, come to us. Because the effect could be Ash Blossomed, and we summon a Shiberta. So, that wasn't that great, but we do have the quick effect to banish from the opposing player's graveyard. Draw and Lockbird, no more adding from the deck. Branded Fusion, send from the deck into the Branded Dragon. Again, this plays into the Shiberta public knowledge, banish all Albazes from the grave. Banish the Shrouded, banish the Albaz, and then there's no Albaz. Do it. Please do it. Activate Veiler Mate. Why? Brand Red, then change Shiberta. Right now. Holy crap, you super win. Shiberta banish like crazy. I guess, okay, we're leaving the Albaz in graveyard, but this is getting negated by the Veiler anyway. That's fine, I guess. Retribution, add back the Branded Fusion before it gets banished by the Shiberta. Goodbye to the Shrouded and Lubellian Engrave, so it cannot tribute over the Albaz. The Albion, that is. To battle we go. Can't be destroyed. It don't work. Can't be targeted. Can't be destroyed. Just like that. So we feared the Shiberta so much that we used it for the Fusion Summon, where instead we could have fused with the area to turn off the targeting and battle destruction protection. So even with Super Poly, we still lose. That is the power of Melodious. You're just building up a really strong wall, and if you can't break it, then you can't win. Concerto fuse into Bacha. Bacha summon from the deck, triggering the couplet to equip itself as a pendulum scale. Damn. What is the best out to Melodious? Is it Droplet and Super Poly? You need both of them to help break the field. We're going to use Droplet ourselves, send 2 to reduce the field. What I would really like to see is, I want to see Tenpai against Melodious. Tenpai against an area, making the whole field indestructible by battle and untargetable, and then you have the Atoli to spin back. That would be a sight to behold. And just like that, 2-1. It's pronounced Etoli. Yeah, got you. Thank you. All right, 2-1. Let's go. And that's the end of the top 16. We'll be hopping into the top 8 afterward in the video tomorrow. Thank you very much for watching. We're going to be starting this off with Melodious against Vaalmonica. What the hell happened today? Let's go.